it's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And many of you have asked me how I care and maintain my Eden climbing roses. So this is the succulent lover's guide to caring for roses. Many of you probably have roses in your gardens. I consider roses to be a succulent compatible. And what I mean by that is they typically, and for the most part, eat in the same restaurant. Roses, when established, are very drought tolerant. They love slow, deep, infrequent waterings. They will tolerate periods of drought. They are very, very forgiving in terms of, at least the climbing ones are, in terms of pruning and your style of pruning. I've actually, in the past, many years ago, went to a couple of classes on how to take care of roses and how to prune them. And there are rules, people. Blah. So, no, not for me. I just want roses that are going to look good without me having to have a master's degree. So, the Eden Climbers. First of all, I started these roses because I went on a garden tour as just, as a spectator in La Jolla, California, and one of the gardens had an entire wall of Eden Climbers in full fantastic bloom. And I fell absolutely in love with these romantic roses. I mean, look at that. They don't have a great scent, but they're just so, so beautiful. And in the spring, when these flush out, oh my gosh, it's just a sight to behold. Also, in my experience dealing with garden maintenance, I know that climbing roses are pretty forgiving and pretty easy to manage. So I planted my roses on my fence back in the day when we first started in this garden about 15 years ago. And lo and behold, the voles came along and ate all of them. Took them off right where the base of the trunk met the soil, right at the line, and just chewed them. So we started over again, and you can't see now because they're covered in succulents, but Greg built me, oh crap, well you can see that, well sort of, you can see this one. Greg built me wooden boxes. And these, you see under this aeonium here, see the purple wooden box? He built me these boxes, and they don't have bottoms. We just did hardware cloth, 1/4 inch, stapled that on, and I, lifted the roses up. And that has worked against gophers, voles, and the likes. So my roses are raised bed roses now. And the hardware cloth on the bottom allows the roots to extend through, but we have enough root that even if the gophers are going under the box down in the ground, it's not impacting what's happening at box level. So hopefully that makes sense to you. That was the first thing, is protecting them from varmints. Then, how do I get them to stick to the wall? Because I'm not a big one on exposed ropes, ties, poles, that sort of thing. I like things to look really, really natural. So what I decided to do was just take the good old-fashioned staple gun and staple the roses to the fence. And that is what I did in the early days with these roses. Is I just took a branch. Can you see that, Greg? Mm-hmm. Okay. And stapled it. And that's how I did it, folks. No mystery there. Staple, staple, staple. And in time, what happened was they began to self-train. With that support, they're still stapled gently, but not too much, because as the branches got thicker, they busted loose of their staples. But that's a great way to start baby vines to the fence, is just, with a staple gun. I maintain these by going through. The designer in me doesn't like to see these yellow leaves. And this is January, so they're dormant. I mean, this is as bad as these roses are ever going to look. So I pick off all of the yellow leaves. This in of itself is a form of pruning. And any spent bloom, see that? It was done. So I'll trim back the bloom. the flower when it's finished. Clean that all up. So as you know, I'm going through, I'm picking off the yellows. This takes me 15 or 20 minutes to get through the whole row of them, and I do it every couple of weeks in the dormant season. I will also trim them back in January. Not aggressively though. That's what I've learned. I made the mistake one year of going to town. I mean, I cut them back hard and they didn't do crap for me that year. So now I've learned to be very judicious. I cut out all of the dead wood first. Anything, you know, that is clearly a goner, which is just, that's just general maintenance, cleaning out all the dead wood. Then I identify suckers. I identify branches that, you know, I'm not really interested in supporting. New, fresh wood that is green and that may not be, you know, something that I want to see. Like this one, for example. This branch, I think, is superfluous. It's not really doing anything for me, so I'm going to follow it all the way back to its origin and remove it. So that's the first thing, is any cross branches or anything that's not really, that you're not loving, take it all the way back to the origin and remove it. So this way I'm just supporting the older wood. And, you know, I'm feeling all of this. I'm liking everything here. So I'm just going to take and cut back my roses by about 6 to 8 inches. See here? See this little bud? That's going to be a branch if I let it go. I don't really want a branch coming out this way. So I'm going to cut this down to the crotch right here. See, there's a little branchlet forming right here that I actually like and would want to support. See, that's going to grow that way. So I'll cut it right there. Clean up all of those yellow leaves. And just every branch that I like and that I want to support, I'm just going to cut back by a few inches. Like so. I'm just going to go all the way down the row and trim, 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 cutting out any wood that I don't like or that I don't want to encourage. Here's another one that I'm really not feeling. Let's see, where do you start? Right here. Okay. And then anywhere where it's really loose, I'll take my staple gun and attach the branches back to the fence. Then when I'm all done opening them up, trimming them back into a shape that is appealing to me, then 4 times a year I take a systemic. I like the Bare product. There's a Bare tree and shrub, there's a Bare rose and flower care, and what it does is it controls insects, fungus, mites, just pretty much anything that can make your roses go sideways.
This isn't a promotion.
Oh, Greg says it's not a promotion. Well, I just want to encourage you to use whatever product that you see fit.
Preference.
But yeah, this is not, I'm not being paid. Okay. Anywho, so this is just what I use. So I take a little bit of the systemic, it's a liquid, and then what I'll do is water that in. I do that 4 times a year, and my roses stay pretty clear of pests and diseases. You can see a little bit of cutworm damage right here on this leaf. That's kind of what I want to avoid, especially in the springtime. So here's some more up here. This is cutworm, which is very typical on roses, but also these David Austin Eden climbing roses are bred to be resistant to a lot of the things that might attack many different types of roses. All right, so that is my tutorial on how to take care of your roses. If you've got some roses that you have growing amongst your succulents, I would really love to see it. And you can send me pictures via Instagram, DM me at Laura Love Succulents, and let me see what you're working with. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity reporting from my garden with how I take care of my roses, just for you guys. Bye!